Okay, well, this is my video response for Han Rosling's Magic Washing Machine and Sheryl WuDunn's Our Century's Greatest Injustice. And, well, first off, to go with Hans Rosling's video, I found it very interesting the way he looked at the way we use energy today. It is true that there are just a very small amount of people that, well, 1 billion is not really a small amount, but out of the whole world, it's quite a small amount that actually are using, like he said, the airline. They're the airline people. They spend more than $80 daily on their consumption in energy. And then you have the lower side, which has 2 billion of the world's population that is below the poverty line, and they're spending less than $2 a day on energy consumption. And I loved the way he had that awesome picture display showing us the way he was talking about all of this. And the way he talked about energy consumption is he applied it to the washing machine and all of the other wonderful appliances that we use today, but especially focusing on the washing machine. People in those countries below the poverty line, they don't have a washing machine. They barely use any energy at all. And they have to go through the painstaking way of washing their clothes by hand. I've actually had to do that before, and it's really not fun. It takes a long time, and it hurts your hands, and it's just a waste of time when you could just throw it in the washing machine like we have. Also, I found it very, going back off of the poverty, the people in poverty, what Hans Rosling is talking about is having them through population growth. There's not going to be much of an increase in them being able to ever have a chance of getting those washing machines. But through economic growth, there could be a chance that one day they can get to that point of having a washing machine. And that could be a problem, as the people above the airline, as well as the washing line and the mid-range line that he had, they consume a lot more energy than those under the poverty line. And if they all start having that chance to have technology like the washing machine, they'll be consuming more energy, and that could be a problem in all of the world consuming that much energy. So I think this is his main point, is Hans Rosling's solution is that we should get so that everyone can have a washing machine, but that we start to implement green energy and using that so that we aren't using as much of the things like fossil fuels and all the essential things we need, because if we all are using that energy, it's going to deplete so fast. So his main point I see is making it fair for everybody to be able to have a washing machine, but to make sure to use that energy wisely. Now, going on to Sheryl WuDunn's video, now that one really impacted me. Basically, her main point is that in today's century, today's world, the greatest injustice is gender inequality. She said here, I really like this, so I'd like to read this. She said in the 19th century, the central moral challenge was slavery, as we remember very well here in the United States. It was a huge problem. And then in the 20th century, it became totalitarianism. But today, it's changed a little bit into a very severe gender inequality, where women aren't being treated the same as men. There were some crazy facts that she had, just like the one about the girls in India. From the ages 1 to 5, girls in India die at a 50% higher mortality rate than boys do. And it's because, just like some of the examples that they she shared in that in her speech, There are some people that they didn't like the people in Pakistan. They didn't want a whole bunch of girls. They wanted boys because they think that boys are the ones that are going to get more income. But what Sheryl is trying to say is that the greatest change. Let me see where she said this. Okay. Um, Basically, this was said by Larry Summers, actually. He was a chief economist of the World Bank. He said, it may well be that the highest return on investment in the developing world is giving girls education. And actually, education, she said, can stop poverty and terrorism, which I think we all want to stop that. So we need to, I agree with Sheryl in the sense that we need to give girls a chance to get that education, to be able to give their part, and to be able to excel. It shouldn't just be men, but all genders. Um, I loved the example of Beatrice where she was going to school and she was almost going to have to give up school. And but from donations from the United States, she was able to get a goat from her family, and because of that goat, the family was able to make enough money to allow her to go to school and get an education. She went to all the way to the point that she could come to the United States and graduate from Connecticut University. And she said this, I'm the luckiest girl in the world because of a goat. It just shows you how much of a difference small donations can make to those people over in those other countries. They can use our donations, and what a huge difference it makes. Another example was Dai Manju from China. She received donations. Well, her principal received donations from the United States once again, and they were able to give scholarships to people, including Dai. And she went to school, finished middle school, finished all her school, went into accounting, and began to provide for her family as well as help her friends and village get jobs. And she didn't have a very nice house before, without water, without anything. And then it totally changed. And from what? From being charitable and donating. I really feel strongly about the subject. It's something I feel like I'd love to be part of when I can actually have my own finances to give, because she said a very, very important thing here. A lot of us think that happiness comes from having money, but we found that most of the time where real happiness comes is from contributing to a cause larger than yourself, and remembering that we have a large responsibility being citizens of a country that is very wealthy, and we need to share that wealth. And that's where true happiness truly comes, is through sharing that wealth, getting your necessities, of course, but then donating it and sharing it so that everyone can have the same opportunity. And I feel like that's what Sheryl was really trying to get on, is give women the opportunity to have the chances that men do a lot, as well as donate, and that together those will allow this world to get out of poverty and change and be a better world in every country. So I really enjoyed these two videos. They were very interesting. I really like their ideas, and I feel like we need to implement it into our lives, being careful what we consume energy-wise, as well as making sure we are both equal to men and women, and donating generously. And I think if we do that, this world will change, just like they said. So that is my video response, and I hope it was enjoyable.